Welcome to our first episode of Off the Cuff of 2024, where we answer your questions about Lego and beyond.
All right.
If you have a question for us for next video, please leave it in the comments below. All right, let's get into our first question. Josh asks us this question: how long do you plan on producing videos for?
1 month. No, I'm kidding. This is a good question because I've thought about it. We're coming up on our third year of finishing our third year. So we started in February of 2021, and it's almost February of 2024. And it's been 3 years. We've done, in the ballpark of 300 videos. So we average about 100 videos a year, which is about 2 per week. I think we're actually in a good spot. I like our momentum. We've grown a lot over the last year, and so I don't have any plans to stop making videos. I do think, though, that there will be some changes in the channel moving forward. So for instance, we are going to be doing more shorts because I think there's some really cool things that we can do with that platform, and we can also extend our audience beyond those who primarily watch long-form videos on YouTube. I also have made it a goal for us to do more custom builds in 2024. We did a couple of custom builds in 2023, and I really like those. I think it stretches all of us as builders and as content creators, so we're going to be focusing a little bit more on that this year as well, which means that we may not be doing 2 videos a week, but we might be doing 7 or 8 in a month, which is close to that.
Yeah, so basically we don't have any plans on stopping. Obviously, we have no idea what will happen in the future, what our lives will look like in 5 or 10 or 15 years, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
All right, the second one, which goes along with some of the things you were already talking about, is how many videos per week or month do you plan on producing? He says, I've heard other YouTubers say to get viewership, it's a lot about consistency and producing 2+ videos weekly. Would you agree with that?
I think it depends on what you do. We've done a lot of reading and research on YouTube, especially once we started it, which maybe is backwards, right? Do some research before you start doing YouTube stuff. But I think it depends on what content you make. If you look at some of the most successful YouTube channels out there, it varies. So like Mark Rober is somebody I like to watch. He does a lot of engineering stuff, and he does 1 video a month, and every video gets like tens of millions of views. And then you've got, Dude Perfect, which does a video every other week, and then you've got, I think Mr. Beast does a video every week. I mean, all these big channels do it a little bit differently. Looking at the Lego side, I know that there are a lot of people that are doing it full-time, like Emasaurus or Brixie. They do videos every single day, sometimes more than 1 per day, but they do a lot of vlog-style content. For us, we do a mixture of a lot of different things. We'll do some building, custom builds, family build challenges. We do analytical videos. And those all differ in terms of how long it takes to make and produce those videos. And so we're not professional video editors, if you couldn't tell. But, we do it on our free time. We have jobs, like I have a full-time job. Julia works part-time. And we do some of these things like YouTube in our extra time. So that all predicates how much we have time to do for YouTube. So do your research, but think about your time commitments. If you're interested in doing YouTube videos, that's what I would recommend. What can you do, and see what works, and don't be afraid to change things if it's not working. Don't be so stubborn that it's like, well, I'm going to do it my way because it's the way that I want to do it. And look, you can do that, but if you want a growing YouTube channel, sometimes you have to do things a little bit differently. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, we started out with a goal of 2 videos per week. And sometimes I would get stressed out because I'm like, I don't have this video edited or whatever. And so Colin was really great about being like, don't stress out about it. Like, if we only get 1 video a week, it's not the end of the world. The nice thing about being a YouTuber is you don't have a boss telling you what you have to or don't have to do. So it was like, okay. Like, this is our goal. Our goal is to get 2 videos out a week. Sometimes there's an extra one if, there's a release that's a news release or something that we want to talk about. But generally, our goal is to get 2 out a week, but we decided not to stress out about it.
Yeah, and early on, one of my favorite YouTube channels on the Lego side is Tiago Catarino's, right? And if you don't know Tiago, he's a former Lego set designer, and he ended up going back to his home country, I think of Portugal, and doing the YouTube thing. And one of the things he committed to doing was putting, I think it was a video every single day. And it was like a little tutorial build that he would make, you know, how to make vehicles, how to make flags, how to do X, Y, and Z. And he committed to doing that every single day for a couple of months to gain the support, to gain the followers, to get the 4,000 hours of watch time in order to get monetized. And he did all of that stuff. And then once he reached a certain threshold, he was able to scale back. And I think that's a lesson for people to think about is, you know, what are your immediate goals versus your long-term goals? How sustainable is your current schedule? And then how do you modify that to keep your sanity? Again, if you're doing this part-time like we are, doing a video every single day is just way, way too much to ask, unless we cut everything out and we just, you know, we give our kids away or something like that. We're not doing.
Okay, transitioning more to Lego specific content, we have John Noble asking us a few of these next questions. He asks, do you prefer digital or paper instructions?
Ooh, so Lego is actually making a transition to some digital instructions. Now, when they release sets, you can go online, download the PDF from lego.com and look at the instructions, which allows you to, you know, have a device, an iPad or a tablet or laptop, Chromebook or whatever out, and maybe even your phone, and look at instructions, which is cool. And I think it allows you to maybe split up the build a little bit differently for building together as a family. I don't like the digital instructions for a couple of reasons. One, sometimes if you go back in time, like, and I have a lot of older sets where the digital instructions aren't very, I just don't think they're very good. I think there's a lot of issues with how the colors look in them. And I think it's maybe a little bit easier to figure out when you have the paper. The other thing is, if you like unplugging, and Lego is a way for you to unplug from screens and devices, it's nice to have the paper instructions. And so I hope that Lego would always include paper instructions. I get it that they're trying to move toward a more carbon neutral and environmentally friendly product overall. They've tested different types of plastics that might not use oil, so no olefinic based plastics, but they've had some struggles with that. And so they might go toward, you know, paper bags, which we've started to see over the last, you know, year, as well as digital instructions. I hope they keep the paper instructions, and I hope, and we've made this comment in multiple reviews, not that Lego watches our reviews or anything like that, but, you know, we've made the comment in reviews where we would wish that they'd have more instruction manuals so that if we had 3 or 4 people building together, it would be really easy to split up that set and have that time together.
Yeah, so I actually completely agree. Those would be my 2 reasons for preferring paper over digital. The coloration sometimes is not great in the digital. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you'll even see color issues on the paper ones too. So it's not like the paper ones are immune from that problem. But when you have the digital instructions, sometimes it is even harder to tell, like, what color is that? Is that dark gray, light gray? I'm not sure. So it is nicer, I think, to have the paper. And also, like you said, like, we're looking for something to do without a screen. So I completely agree.
So one more thing to add to that is like, if you go back in digital instructions, I think the biggest problems that I noticed were around like the 2005 to 2010 era of the digital instructions, the PDFs that you could download. Some of them just weren't very good when it came to the colorization. I think they've gotten better, but one set we noticed recently with the paper instructions that was a bit hard to tell what color they were referring to was the family reunion celebration. I thought that there were some tough parts in that, especially with the reddish brown looking like dark brown.
One benefit of the digital, though, and I don't think they have this in instructions books yet, but if you go on like Brickset, I think they have like a 3D rendering, which is really cool because you can turn it from any angle. Because you'd be like, well, what's on the underside? You can just turn it over, which is really nice.
Yeah, and that's actually, you know, we've done this before. Like, we'll do a little build challenge as a family where we might take some pieces or take an image of a set and then pull the inventory and then try to build it without instructions. And those 3D images are really, really helpful for that. Yeah. We're not doing like massive sets. It's not like, okay, build the, you know, the $850 Millennium Falcon without instructions. It's like, here's this little, you know, vignette or a little gift with purchase that's, you know, 100 pieces or 150 pieces, and try to use all of them in the correct way to get the outcome. So, but that's a really useful tool.
Yeah. Just as a reminder, please comment below with your questions. We love to see your questions and answer them. So please put that down below for next time. Okay, so our next question is, if you could have one set from your childhood remade like the Galaxy Explorer today and re-released, which one would it be?
This is the problem with off the cuff. I have to actually think of this in real time. So, full disclosure, I was not alive when the Galaxy Explorer came out. I'm old, but I'm not that old. Okay, so there's that. There are so many good options for that. I actually was thinking about this when they re-released the Eldorado Fortress, because I loved that set when I was a kid. I bought it. I remember saving my money. I remember going to the North Randall Mall, which no longer exists, and getting that set from, I think it was like a KB Toys or something like that was in the mall. And when they re-released that, it reminded me of so many great sets they've had in the past that I would love. I loved the pirate sets. And so for me, I'm thinking about what were some of the small sets they could do as a gift with purchase, right? So they did the Magisto's Tower, Magisto's Fort or House or whatever it was for a gift with purchase. They did the Forest Hideouts. These kind of like $20 sets from back in the day that they've turned into gifts with purchase. So one of those I would recommend, or that I would want to see, would actually be this Saber Island from the pirate line. It was this little tower that I think they could do a lot of cool things with by modernizing it. They used a lot of those prefab window pieces, and I think it'd be cool to redo it, and you get a couple of soldiers, and it's not like something that wouldn't have to be gift with purchase. I think they could do that with a gift with purchase.
Yeah, I think some of those sets that use the big prefab pieces are good ones to remake. Like the set I think of, and I can't remember what it was called, but I've mentioned it to you before, and I think of it as a Forestman set. I'm not sure if it truly is, but it's on that river base plate.
Forestman River Crossing, yeah.
And then they have like the little bridge up in the trees.
Yeah.
So that one has, prefab base plate, first of all, and a bridge, like all these things. And I always looked at that in the Lego catalog. I thought that would be the coolest set to get. But now I think of like how they could do it with modern techniques would be even cooler, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one, and they've done like the Forest Hideout, so they've done some Forestman stuff, but I'd love if they redid that one as an official set. That'd be pretty sweet. I know that the Bricklink program actually did like a Forestman kind of set, and they have another one that might come out like later this year. So those are nice ways to get some Forestman stuff. They redid the Black Seas Barracuda, so going back to the pirate stuff, like the Pirates of Barracuda Bay was really cool. Yeah, I think I think it would have to be like some of those lines that they don't do all the time. Because here's my thing with city sets, is they frequently just cycle back through different city sets. And so they'll do different like cargo depots, police stations, of course, they come out with different police sets all the time, fire stations, even like hospital stuff, various vehicles. So I don't think, remaking that basically essentially happens already as it is with city stuff. So probably castle, pirate, and space would be the key themes because they're not constantly in motion right now. I will say this, I think a monorail set would be awesome. They did a space monorail and then an airport monorail, and those sets were iconic sets from the 80s and early 90s, and they're super expensive to get the monorail track. And I would love, now that they have all the roller coaster track, like they could do monorail stuff. So I'm gonna hitch my wagon to the monorail remake. That's what I would like to see. I'm not saying I would get it, but I think it'd be really cool to see them redo that. And I think it would be a great homage to those sets and a shout out to a lot of fans that are the Gen X millennial crowd.
Okay, and then they want to know if we're going to change the sets that are behind us.
So the sets and the stuff behind us, it's oftentimes what we're working on. And unfortunately, because we do a lot of different videos and we have jobs outside of this, the progress on some of these projects is not as quickly as I would like. But yes, we will do that. Tell you what, for the February edition of Off the Cuff, we will have different stuff behind us. So we'll maybe take apart that little mock we have of the house behind us over there and part that out and maybe make something else. Behind Julia here, we have a work in progress that I started for like a custom modular music shop. Based on one that is nearby us. I haven't made a ton of progress on that because I've been working on some other projects. But yeah, I think you'll see some new stuff coming back in 2024, which is one reason why we do want to work on more custom stuff, because the more custom stuff we work on, the more the scenery behind us changes ever so slightly. So yes, and yes.
All right, last question. What do we know about the modular and what are your hopes for it?
The next modular? Okay. Wow. Not much. We just had the 2024 modular in the Natural History Museum. We've done a lot of content about that. You've been watching our channel, you know that. But the next one, whether it's December of 2024, January of 2025, what I am 99.99999% confident on is that it's going to be a corner modular. And if you have been following the modular series from its beginning, you know that the Lego design specifically released modular buildings, not including Market Street, which was the second one. I saw a video, somebody said it was the OG, the first one. No, it's the second one, as well as the Sanctum Sanctorum. Those, they can be modular buildings in your modular city just fine, but they're not like the part of the series that Lego uses each year. And so that goes corner, straight, corner. So if you go back to the last iteration, corner in the Boutique Hotel, straight with the Jazz Club, straight with the Natural History Museum, and then corner is going to be the next one. That is, again, 99.999% confident in that. To me, the question is, what is it going to be? How do they work the corner, right? Like if you look at different corner buildings, there's different techniques. But I think one of the challenges with the corner buildings, and I remember, forget who, it might have been Jamie Berard, but somebody else, like an interview a long time ago, was like, corner buildings are tough because there's only so many ways that you can use pieces that are currently made at that time to create that corner. And we've seen some pretty creative techniques since then. You look at the corner garage and the Boutique Hotel, both of which use really extreme angles that are not kind of that soft 45 or soft 90 degree angle. Now, what would you want it to be? Like, what are you thinking would fit in nicely with a modular city?
I think it'd be nice to see a library.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little ice cream shop there too. I'm kind of surprised we don't have an ice cream shop kind of attached to something. I guess you probably get some in the downtown diner, but the specific ice cream shop would be nice. One of you commented that you would like to see a post office, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah, post office would be good. I love the idea of a library. I know we have the bookshop, but oddly enough, one of the critiques of the bookshop is A, that it's very small, and B, that there aren't very many actual books available. Like it came with like one book, Moby Brick. And, like it's like that old Wendy's commercial. Where's the beef? Like where are the books? So a library would help that. You could, maybe take some books from the library and donate them to the bookshop or whatever. But I think library would be really cool. Ice cream shop would be great. Yeah, I mean, some sort of maybe medical facility also would be in line. I'm thinking of like a clinic or, I mean, a hospital would be tough given, maybe the way that it might be built in a modular city, but some sort of, we have a dentist office, right? We have a veterinarian. So, how do we incorporate that? Maybe some sort of doctor's office as small part of a larger building. So it'd be like a primary care office. So it wouldn't necessarily have like, operating rooms or things like that, but just, a waiting room and maybe a couple of rooms for, patients to sit in. So that's a possibility. Lots of ways they can go with it. I'm excited, of course, to continue to add to our modular city here in 2024. So some projects we're working on are to, of course, add the Natural History Museum to our modular city, but we're also going to be working on a customized family reunion celebration. We're going to do a challenge. We're going to give ourselves 12 hours to customize that into a modular building. And it's going to be similar to what we did last year with the Downtown Flower and Design Shops with the Friends set. So we're going to be doing that. That will be added to us. So be on the lookout for that video. And then the subsequent Season 2, Episode 1 of our Modular City vlog, which will show how we place those in our city. Anything else?
That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Remember to comment below with your questions for next time. And always remember to keep building together.